My name is Jenny. I'm from Native Bird Connections, and we've been coming, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in a row. It's really a fun festival. We like talking to you because you like birds. So this organization that I belong to, we've been in existence since the year 2000, and I always like to start telling you a little bit about ourselves. We have about 20 non-releasable birds, and we like to bring birds to Flyway because these are birds that you don't always get to see up close and personal. For the most part, they're injured. They can't make it in the wild any longer. And with the exception of our eagle owl, they are all wild born. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. So the native species that you see, you're seeing because we have permission from U.S. Fish and Wildlife and California Fish and Game. This is really important. Without these organizations, we can't do what we like to do. And so they give us the permits and the ability to share these wild animals with you. Truthfully, these animals belong to all of us. We're just their caretakers right now. So we're trying to do the best job we can, and thanks to these 2 organizations, we can do that. The other thing I'd like to share with you is about these 3 words we wear on our sleeve: respect, responsibility, and reverence. These are things that are truly important to us, and they sort of guide the way we do our business. Respect is about respecting wildlife, and birds in particular, for who they are, not who we wish them to be. And that's easy to say. It's just really, really hard to do. It's something that means that we don't have them do tricks. We really admire the fact that they have given up their wildlife with their injuries, and they're willing to partner with us. This is So who knows what this bird might be? Very good. We got Swainson's hawk. This is a California threatened species, and this is a bird that you should really pay attention to. Remarkable individual, a little bit smaller than a red tail, very common in our agricultural valleys, the central core of California. The Swainson's population in California often is this darker version of the more common Swainsons of the rest of the United States. Let me tell you his story. He was in a nest in Nevada, and the nest was being watched by some researchers because of that threatened status. They are trying to find out as much information as they can about Swainson's hawks. And he was in his nest. He was just a baby, and he was getting ready to fledge, to fly for the very first time. So he got out on the edge of the nest, and he's paddling in his wings and getting all ready to go, and then he lost his nerve. Then he gets out on the side of the nest, and he's paddling his wings, and I'm going to go, I'm going to go. Well, he finally takes off. But you know what happens? He crashes. And that's not unusual. Young birds will crash on their first flight. They really don't know how to work the landing gear, and it's pretty new to them, you know. But where he crashed is he hit the researcher's vehicle, and he crashed into the radio antenna. And he did it with such force that he cut off the end of his right wing. Now, I would hate to have been that researcher. I would have felt horrible. But at least they were there, and they were able to pick him up. So this little guy does not have the tip of his right wing, and so he can't fly. And why is that really important? Well, that's certainly how they have to hunt. But in this species, they go 7,000 miles to Argentina every year for the winter. That's a big deal. And the reason is that in Argentina in the wintertime, there's a tremendous blossom of grasshoppers, and that's one of their favorite foods. They used to be called a grasshopper hawk. And they are very comfortable on the ground. They love eating insects around Davis. And there's some interesting things happening around Byron in the Clifton Court Forebay area. There's a very small population of Swainson's hawks that are now not migrating. This is really interesting because we're seeing an evolutionary change in the population as a whole. So why is that happening? We don't know. It's very interesting. Are they going to be successful? Is that going to pass on to their progeny? This is still unknown. So it's very, very exciting information.
Can any of you guys tell me what kind of bird this is? Maybe you can look at the back of them and... Red-tailed hawk, good guess. I think you've seen them before, huh? But do all red-tailed hawks have a red tail? You're right. Boy, we do have an educated group here. This one has a red tail because this bird is an adult. 2 years ago when he was a juvenile, he did not have a red tail. But the way we can tell the red-tailed hawks is they have patagial marks under their wings. If I can get him to open up his wings, see up there by his shoulders, those little brown marks right in here? Those are the marks to tell you indeed it is a red-tailed hawk. This one comes from Arkansas. This is not one of our birds. So this is an eastern red-tail. And what makes him an eastern red-tail, perch. What makes him an eastern red-tail is, okay. See how his wingtips are a little shorter, about 1.5 to 2 inches shorter than his tail. They're a little smaller bird and a little smaller wingspan, and that's what makes him an eastern red-tail. Okay, let's turn you around again now. Okay, so you can see what's going on.
Explain his sight.
Okay, he is with me. He's with me because he's a sight-impaired bird. As you can see in his left eye, it's an atrophy. He's going to lose his left eye. He got hit by a car. Somebody witnessed his accident. And his vision on his right eye isn't 100% either. There's been a possibility to let this bird go with one eye. But with the other eye damaged as well, there's just no chance of letting him back go. He can fly well and everything else, but he just can't see enough to hunt all the time. And it is one little thing we do with sight-impaired birds. It's a little difficult to get him to drink water, so he'll drink water just like that. Because they can't see, they can't smell, probably. Okay? How many years does it take for the babies to start flying? I'd say that's a matter of weeks.
Very intense bird, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her first before I bring her out. This is a bird that was injured up in Wyoming. We got her from a rehabber up there, and she is, first she had a wing injury. She had a broken wing, and the rehabber that got her found her at half her body weight. And this bird is the largest of the broad-winged hawks. They're a winter visitor. And to be half your body weight means you're very, very down. You're about ready to die. And because of her bad wing, she was just trying to find things on the ground to make a living. And so the rehabber was able to get her back into care, had the wing pinned, and found this bird just to be insane, just to be a very intense bird, which is very typical for this species. And you notice I'm not telling you what this is, because you're going to have to guess. Anyway, so we got her. And her wing had healed, but it had not healed well enough for proper flight. And as with most species, they have to be able to fly to make a living. Some species don't have to fly as perfectly as others. Falcons have to fly absolutely perfectly or they cannot make a living. A red-tail, they can get by with a few imperfections. This bird was not flying well enough, so we got the bird. So I'm doing some of this talking so she can get used to my voice over the microphone. This is for your education, but it's also for her. There are a lot of things that we do subtly when we're working with birds, and they are intended to help this bird adjust to a new situation. So you guys can help me out a lot. When she comes out, I don't mind if you ooh and ah, but try not to giggle, because she might not stay on my fist. She might fly, and it might seem funny, but it's really scary for her. And so she doesn't know that all you are out here, so this is going to be kind of frightening for her. So you guys can all be very helpful for me to just be calm and be quiet and see how she does. Okay? Is that a deal, you guys?
The SF Bay Flyway Festival is a project of ARC Ecology, a 501c non-profit corporation whose mission is to assist communities in the reuse of former military property for public benefit. ARC Ecology also hosts Mare Island events: Lost Boats of Mare Island, Daffodil Tea, the Mare Fair, Mare Island Shoreline Heritage Preserve's second Saturday Access Days. ARC Ecology.